Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the war without an astropath.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Iron and Ceramite podcast. My name is John and as always, and for the first time in ages, I'm joined by everybody. Shane.
Hello.
Tommy. Glenn.
Hi.
And Dave.
Hi guys.
Oh, you made it for the well, it's been a week. You made it for the second half.
Only this week, but yeah, made it just about.
And we already said it last week, but it still counts. Happy first anniversary. Now we're all together. We've made it. A year and a week. We've done it.
Yeah. It's gone quick.
What have we done?
Well, we've been doing this. Like,
Yeah. We've made it.
Meeting up and talking about toys.
No, yeah, we've all enjoyed it. It's been great. Well, I certainly have. Been great, I mean.
Yeah. Right. So let's get straight on with it. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the games that we've been playing over the last couple of weeks. We've got a couple of the battle reports coming up. But me and Tom, we regrettably did an epic 3,000 point game that took us probably longer than a shift at work.
I feel like it's lowered my life expectancy that night.
Yeah. So we got a 3,000 point game. We thought, well, it won't be too bad. About 6-7 hours maybe. Round Tom's house, 3,000 points of Death Guard, 3,000 points worth of Imperial Fists. I think, what time did I get to? Just about 8 o'clock.
No, you got up there almost just past 7:30.
Right, just past 7:30. And then by the time we set up,
Nearly
I
6.
think it was 10 o'clock was by the time we finally started playing.
Well, after you finally announced your army, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I needed my notes. I thought I could do it without my notes. Got really cocky.
It was 3,000 points though, man. So I don't blame you.
Yeah. And then we started playing, and then the sun came up.
Almost 6 o'clock in the morning by that point, and I think I think the final third of the game, I don't know what was going on. I still don't remember really what happened. I know that certain things happened. I sort of won in the end, but it was like I have no idea. We was just rolling, weren't we? That's that. This is this. Let's fucking get on with this. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, but the first half was fun.
It was all fun. Yeah, it was by the time I was just standing there for 45 minutes at a time getting shot at. It was quite exhausting. But we played the open war deck that you'll obviously see when the battle report comes up in a couple of weeks. And I really enjoyed that. It was different. The twists, we've not had that before. I was saying though, I did have to get you to redo the twist because you sort of gave it away straight away. So the twist was Blinding Sun, and on the first round, whoever won the roll off would get to pick where the sun would rise, what side of the board the sun would be on, and then anybody shooting that direction would have to take one off the hit roll. And then on round 3, the other person gets to decide whether it goes to the left or right side of the board. And you gave it to me at first, didn't you?
So I won. I actually won the roll off, and I didn't properly read specifically what the card said, and I just went, "Oh well, we'll put it on that side. We'll put it on your side like that." And John sort of looked at me and went, "Really?" like that, and I was like, "Oh yeah. Oh, I've made a massive mistake, haven't I?" like that, and so he sort of looked at me as if, "Do you want to reevaluate that?" And he was like, "Should we just roll off again?" And I was like, yeah, let's roll off again just to make it fair. So we rolled off again. I won again and went, right, we'll put it on this side like that.
It wasn't that. It did take you about 10 seconds to think because you went, now what do I want to do? Yeah, I better put it behind me. And that was the second time. And I was thinking, I'll take the sun if you want to. And I wish I had because I needed it.
So I'm sort of, I'm thankful for John for saying that, but also John did have a lot of luck as well with regards to first turn, and we had to. So we had to roll off every turn at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah.
To see who could move the objective, because there was only one single objective that started in the middle, the center of the battle map. And if you won the roll off at the beginning, you could move it up to 2d6, wasn't it? Yeah. In inches, wherever you wanted. John won the first 4 in a row. So, yeah, I mean, usually I would have thought, oh, I'm done for, but.
Yeah, annoyingly, you couldn't claim points in the first 2 rounds. Otherwise, I would have been laughing. But yeah, by the time I actually claimed points, I didn't have many troops left on the board.
Not in the right areas, anyway.
Huh?
Not in the right areas, anyway.
No, well, yeah. Bloody Terminators, deep striking and just standing there again. That's 3 games in a row they've done that. They've just turned up and watched everybody go the other direction.
I'm glad you're learning.
Yeah. I'm going to keep doing it, though, till it works. Well, it was good, though. It was like, I mean, I wish it hadn't taken 45 hours, but it was a good game. Yeah. And then I lost, and it was heartbreaking.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I say, it was a 3,000 point game. So we literally had, both of us had new units in there, or units we've barely used at all. It was really nice to use the full extent of what we think we've got as an army. And also, obviously, it was all battle forged. So we do know for a fact that at least both of us have got a 3,000 point capable army. Not necessarily the army we specifically want, but we can play that big of a game. And it went really well. Like I say, the whole game was fun, but especially the first sort of like I don't know, like 80% of it, until we started to you call it, like our brains started to melt out of our ears.
Round 4 was like
about round 4, and then we was like, right, let's just get this done. Don't care what happens now. But by that point, the writing was on the wall for John, unfortunately, and that was more to do with he'll explain it himself. But the deep striking of the Terminators, they had a charge. They needed to make, obviously, was it 9 inches like normal? You re-rolled that, didn't make that again. That was with the Bright Lord Terminators and Felthius. Both of them didn't make it in, actually, did they?
Yeah.
And then the other guys, what were they called? The Death Shroud.
The Death Shroud got in.
They killed some shit. Yeah, they were John's. They were John's. I don't know. They're definitely the best unit in your army.
I mean, out of all the new stuff, they're the only model that actually was worth taking, because the Hellbrute got taken off in round 1. The Demon Prince, he did all right, but by the time he got into combat, he was down to 2 wounds. And the problem is as well, like that map didn't do me any favors, because it was a triangle, and it's like, well, I've got to get everything up fast, so I put everything in as close to the top of that triangle as I could, and that was the only place there was really any cover. So once I started moving forward, I was out in the open anyway, because we don't have a lot of terrain, so I was just sort of there taking an absolute beating.
Yeah. So the deployment was, what was it? It was 18 inches apart, wasn't it? From the centre, both of our armies were 18 inches apart, but it went back, like you say, in a triangle to the corners of the map. And because it was a 3,000 point map, we used my whole table, which is 8 foot by 4 foot. So it was the whole thing. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange deployment in the end, the way it looked, but especially with the amount of models there, just like packed into the middle.
I couldn't fit anything else in the end. I like poxwalkers balancing on each other just so I could fit them into where they needed to go. And then, yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was good. It was a good experience. And it was a good, I like those cards are really good where it really mixes it up. So, yeah, I'd like to do those again. It was good. Obviously, the battle report will be up in about 2 or 3 weeks from today. So,
and don't judge us too harshly, especially on the second part. 9.5 to 10 hours it took us, right? So
we went from being
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we went from being quite clear to definitely that last one. We're just like, I don't know, we're just throwing dice. What happened? Like when we wrapped it up, like the first 2 battle reports, we've obviously took the time to sit back down and talk about the game. I was so desperate to go. I was like, yeah, thanks. And then as I was about to hang up, someone went, "Oh, what was your most valuable player?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. The Terminators. Just let me leave."
I mean, let's be fair, right? We didn't even know who won until you'd already left anyway.
We called it a draw. And then someone, I think I won that. Actually, I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Fine, take it." But anyway, what about you guys? You guys have played some other games?
I think
me and Shane got a game in the other day.
That was it, yeah, me and Dave. Necrons versus Black Templars. Grudge match, although there was no Helbrecht or what's his name, Imatech. Yeah. Which is obviously the big narrative arc. But it was a good game. Was competitive, I think, for the first, I'd say, 3.5, 4 rounds, and then up
until my go on the fourth turn, I think that it was very close.
Yeah, and then as I said, you just sort of edged over, and was able to make what you had count. Again, we did open war. So we had deployment was diagonal. I can't remember what was the.
It was domination we had. So there was 6 objectives.
That was it.
And then you could put them up anywhere on the map. Had to be 6 inches from the table edge.
Yeah. And
12 inches from each other. So we just set it up and put pretty much 3 objectives in our deployment zones. And then the twist was couldn't fall back.
Oh, it was no morale. That was
no morale. Sorry,
no morale. So it probably more in favour for you than for me, because Necrons very rarely get killed enough to take morale. But it just meant that because there were a couple of squads, I remember taking them down to 1 or 2 that would have normally at least had to take morale, but they just didn't need to. So made a difference. Oh, and because it was domination as well, you also scored points if you took out more units than your opponent every turn, and that's where it kicked in, because 1 or 2 of them might have failed morale, given what they were down to, but because they didn't, you had to make sure you wiped everyone off, and it just took. Yeah, the Templars were quite resilient, and then towards, was it turn 3? It was turn 4, wasn't it? Your I can't remember his name. Your warlord took down the shard.
Marshal Tancred Amberaldus, the man himself.
Tancred. Yeah, it took down the shard in combat. He had 3 wounds left and was able to take him down. I needed 4 up saves, and I got 3 6s and a 1. So it was like, fuck's sake.
It was glorious, but it was so attritional though, because I think we didn't score many points at the start of the game because we were both just killing each other's units and sitting on our objectives, and I think it was quite interesting. Obviously, Shane made quite a bold decision in the first round.
Bold is a word that some would use. Stupid may also be used.
Yeah, and what's the strat that you used? I can't remember what it's called.
It's a relic. So the Scorpek Lord and the Scorpek Destroyers used Veil of Darkness to disappear during the movement phase and reappear 9 inches away from any of your units. So they turned up a bit like a teleport strike, but you can do it in turn 1. So they turned up, but you can do it anytime you like. They turned up in the back lines, but obviously I wasn't really thinking, didn't factor in that you're just going to burn 2 CP immediately, because you had loads anyway, because it's turn 1 on Auspex scans. And the old, my most hated unit right now, the Eradicators. Doesn't matter whether they're Black Templar or Iron Imperial Fist flavor, they could get fucked. They
arms, right?
Yeah, they melted the Scorpex pretty efficiently. And then at that point, I thought, God, this is only going to go one way. But
I thought that as well for a bit, because when you first done it, I thought, oh shit, I've really left myself open there. And then I was like, oh, I do all spec scan. I think I took out 4 of the Scorpek destroyers. I was like, I feel a bit better now, and I could sort of see the wind go out of your sails.
Yeah.
And and then the Scorpion Lord obviously got into combat, took out one intercessor. He didn't do much himself. I managed to take out the other two in my turn. But then that changed your game plan. It went back to more of a shooting army, which went against me. And I think that it changed from you being quite melee focused, and I was quite. I mean, I used Sigismund Seal and used my Terminators, and I was going to go after the Scorpec destroyers, and then they got destroyed in round one, and then that was sort of a waste of their best thing. I think our big hitters didn't do anything in that. I think your Scorpex didn't take anything out, and my Terminators on their charge took out one Necron warrior, and that was
it was even your
itself, but
your Terminator Sergeant with the claws and was it Champion of the Feast or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, he's going to come in swinging here. And then I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? One Necron. And I was like, I can wear that. And then that was it.
Yeah.
The rest of the game, those two blobs, those two units just cancelled each other out. The Necrons didn't have the armor, like any AP to actually take out the Terminators, and the Terminators couldn't kill them. So it was they just sat there.
Yeah. I think that saved me from just getting shot. That probably was accidentally quite a good thing to do, because that warrior blob could have done a lot more damage shooting than it can in combat.
Well, it would have done a lot more against the rest of your troops, so like your Eradicators and your Hell Blasters, but it couldn't move. It was just tied up at that point. Yeah,
but it was very back and forth. For a couple of rounds, it was sort of like, oh, I think I'm in a really good position, and then you'd have a turn, I think, oh shit. And it was quite swingy that way, especially when the Shard got in and just started saying, like, as soon as you got, because I put my Invicta Warsuit straight up using concealed positions, and I thought, oh, he'll keep him up there for a little while, and then the warrior blob with the strats that you use took off 10 wings off the Invicta Warsuit, and then obviously the Shard is going to take the remaining 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you got into my lines a lot quicker than I wanted you to, which was a bit scary. And I didn't realise that the Shard also got a wound back every turn.
So it's pretty good.
I did sort of go for a little while. And do I run from it? Do I go for it? What do I do here? And with a mixture of both, I managed to take it out eventually, and it was a couple of rounds of running away until I could whittle the wounds down. And but yeah, like I say, it was a very attritional game, very, very close. And I think I think it was 5-2 in the end for the points, but that was quite flattering to me. I'll take it, but it was quite flattering.
No, it was a good game. It was nice to have the Necrons be competitive for a lot more of the game, because they tend to swing. They're really swingy. So it's either, by the end of turn 2, you're going to win it, or by the end of turn 2, you've got nothing left. So to still have like enough units on to have a good couple of turns, like up to the end of turn 4, it was it was good. It was a good battle.
And I do really enjoy that open play as well. I think we got a game that was quite similar to the normal setup, with the amount of objectives and stuff like that. But the scoring, the not having to worry about secondaries was quite interesting. Because I was like, especially when it was like, oh, no falling back. I was like, oh, secondaries. Oh, for the moment, I'm going to score loads of points on that. And then you were like, don't have secondaries, you fucking idiot. I was like, oh, yeah. So, but yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing a few more games of that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then what we were talking about last week was Crusades. And we've had our first Crusade game in the team.
We have. We have. Tom, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So our first Crusade game was, we touched on it in our hobby roundup as well, which was Shane's first outing as the Thousand Suns. Of course, a 50 power level against my Imperial Fists that I've selected for my 50 power level. And it was our first Crusade game. I won. I mean, there's no beating about the bush. That's what happened. That is pretty much the crux of it. But it was a really good learning experience. So basically, first of all, what we was playing is what were the specific rules, Shane?
So it's one of the with the Crusade, you roll off on a different set of missions. So we rolled off before like the night before, so that we could set it all up, and it was the ritual was what it was called. So the defender's deployment zone was like 2/3 of the or like just about half of the battle grid was the defender deployment zone, and then maybe like a quarter was the attacker, and then there was like 12 inches of no man's land between the two army deployment zones. And in the defender deployment zone, so I was the defender because we rolled off. Tom won that one. In the middle is like a ritual site where you can score. I could score primary points by conducting rituals, either psychic or standard, and then Tom would score points for slaying the warlord. So I can get 10 points per turn for the ritual. Tom got 30 points if he slays the warlord, and then there are 4 objectives as well, and you get 10 points if you control 2 of them, and 10 points if you hold more than your opponent. Okay. Again, only able to score that from the second turn. So much more like standard match play in terms of objectives and what you've got to do, apart from the ritual itself, which is slightly different because it had to be your warlord. But other than that, everything was sort of the same, like our CPs and our stratagems and stuff like that. So, as I said, I was set defender. Tom was attacker, so it felt quite narrative. And then you won the roll off for first turn as well, didn't you, Tom?
Absolutely, and it seems like I'm getting a bit lucky at that. Actually, I mean, I think out of my first few Warhammer games, I lost quite a lot. And in the last 8 games, I have lost my first Imperial Fist game against John, and my next 7 I've won. And I'm almost
just had to drop that in there.
No, I had to drop that in there.
Not that you can then. But yeah.
I'm almost always getting first turn at the moment, and that I have to say, as Shane said earlier, or in our hobby roundup, that is a massive deal when you've got a really big gunline army who has that much power. And I know it was only sort of like a 50 PL game, so almost pretty much like a 1,000-point game. But still, I had my Eradicators, I had my Dreadnought, I had my Heavy Intercessors, I had enough firepower, and I won that roll off, and I did okay in the first round. I didn't do too bad, but I didn't do great. Shane, did I?
No. It was the first turn was quite good in that regard, in that the Thousand Suns held up. They were quite resilient, so you didn't take what it was is you were trying to wipe out one unit of Terminators in particular, and you just couldn't get the Sorcerer, and because of that I was then able to bring units or bring models back because of their psychic powers, but then actually the side effect of that was that I had to spend my psychic phase bringing models back as opposed to smiting and doom bolting and stuff like that, which just meant my mortal wound output was minimized. So although it seemed like it wasn't a good first turn, actually because I'd spent time bringing models back, because it was my Terminators that were taken out, which was the core sort of side of the army, or like the elites of the army. So I was hoping they were going to stick around.
Didn't you say?
Sorry, Tom.
Didn't you say they also have OBSEC? Your Terminator.
They do. Yeah. Thousand Sun Terminators are OBSEC, so I needed them to stick around.
Why are they OBSEC?
Because they're made of dust. I don't know.
Horrendous, isn't it? It's horrendous.
Yeah, no, basically everything that's got the Arcana, Astartes, or the Zangors. So the Rubric Marines, the Zangors, and the Terminators are all OBSEC.
I think there was also another little rule that was pretty cool, very very rhyming. But anything that I shot at, Shane, that hit and wounded on a 1, wasn't it?
So anything that had 1 damage.
anything that had 1 damage, you had the what was it the rule you had?
All is dust. So it's the new version of the all is dust rule. So this time around in the current codex, it means if it's a damage 1 weapon or damage 1 characteristic, you get +1 on the armor save. So that just meant my Terminators were effectively 1 up, but fail on a 1. But my Rubric Marines against standard bolters and bolt pistols go down to a 2 up save. So that's quite nice.
Wow.
And then everything has a 5 up invuln. So it can be quite resilient. Where that fell apart today, I think a little bit was obviously Tom's Crusade list, very well put together. A lot of Gravis troops in there, and so that heavy bolters and bolters with all of the different profiles. So what was it? The Hellstorm bolters or something?
Hellstorm on one side and Executor on the other. I put them together because I knew that it would be something that I had to keep. So I'm thinking of John in mind, which is anything that's a 2 damage, obviously for his Death Guard, will go down to a 1. So on one side, I'll get more shots with the Hellstorm, so they will stay the same. But with going against somebody like you, the 2 damage will make a massive difference because every single Marine, like Rubric Marine, will be able to take 1 out. So I've got like a bit of a balance just in case whoever I face. With the exploding 60s, obviously any bolt is pretty decent for an Imperial Fist. So that went well.
But I think the was it toughness 5 of the Gravis armor troops is just that made a big difference as well.
So yeah, I have 2 5-man squads of heavy intercessors, which are toughness 5. I've also got my 3 eradicators, which are toughness 5 as well. They also with the heavy intercessors, they both have strength 5 weapons as well. So they're up at 1 as well. And also, just to rub salt in the wounds, they have an extra wound each as well. So 3 as opposed to 2 on a normal intercessor. So although some people think that they're not maybe point sufficient in comparison to intercessors all the time, I think they are in the way that I play. And I know that Shane does now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I was thinking back about it. I was like, what else could I have done differently? Maybe deployed a bit more cautiously, a bit more hidden. But they're literally because there's no need for you to really come forward. Even if you do, you're resilient enough anyway. And as soon as you pop your head out to try and get line of sight, you just get smoked. So it was a real tough list to go against. But good, because as I said, then it's like, right, if that's the type of list you're gonna come up against, how go away and look at it and go, right, how do I come up with that? How do I build a list or look at what I've got? What strats do I use next time round to try and take that down? Like as I said, it wasn't all one-sided. Like I think I got rid of one of the combat squads of the Blade Guard. Nearly got rid of the other one as well. Got rid of the Redemptor. Got rid of the Warlord, and took a few bits and pieces out here and there. I think what was really good was the combat squadding of the Blade Guard. I think that was another real, really clever part of using the Crusade system properly. Yeah.
So I think there was 2 things with that. First of all, obviously it's a 6-man squad. It starts off as a 6-man squad, which is 10 power level. So a combat squadded. Combat squadded. So I put 1 on either side, either flank, you could say. Obviously move them up. But the main thing for my thinking with that is that I know that Shane has, I can't remember if it's a psychic power ability or a stratagem where you can take away the invuln of 1 unit. So if I had a blob of 6 of them and he took away the invuln, they'd have a 3-up save, and that's without the most of Shane's even his bolters, Inferno bolters, I think they are like -2.
Yeah.
So that would be like a 5-up save. So I combat squad did them, put them on either side, and the second thing about that is obviously only 3 can die. If he targets everything, it has to be onto that 1 squad, so only 3 can die instead of 6. The other thing is one of the 3 of the 6 can kill a unit over here, and these 3 can kill a unit over here, they will both still, as a unit, get a unit kill, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they I'm not explaining this very well, am I?
You're getting there. So basically, at the end, I think it's more important that when you get to the end of the crusade or that battle, and you add up the points, because they're effectively one unit. If you've got, like, I took out one of the combat squads, but that unit doesn't count as out of action because the other combat squad still survives. So that's fine. And then also, if one combat squad kills something, the other combat squad benefits from that experience because it's all part of the same unit, because it's all on the same crusade card. So it was well played in regard to that. It was good.
What prizes and defects do your guys have now, or boons?
Well, I got lucky, even though I was obviously on the wrong side of the result. I'd rolled all of my out of action tests and none of them failed. So all they do is they carry forward their experience, but because I didn't win, I didn't get as much experience. So it just means none of them got any battle honors. But theoretically, after the next battle, most of them will have earned enough to then boost up to that next level. So that will be quite crucial for me. But it was more important that none of them came away with any significant impact. Then I'll hand over to you, Tom.
Well, I don't want to put Kane down, right? It was a close game up to a point.
Yeah, it was,
then pretty much wiped him off the table. And then the one unit I didn't want to get to Battle Scar, my Warlord gets a Battle Scar on a 1. So out of the 2 units that I lost, one of them gets it, and it's the Warlord, and he is now blind in one eye. As it sounds, he's blind in one eye. So no augmetic, nothing to help him out. He's just like a patch, like a toy around, like John's Primarch space. What was it? What was it you said, John? The Primarch space.
What?
No, you have an aneurysm or something.
Space Pirate.
The Pirates. Yeah. That's
a throwback.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. I like that.
Yeah. So he's got one eye now. But on the flip side of that, we both got some experience points as well, didn't we?
We did.
So I marked one of my units of greatness, which were my eradicators. So they ended up with 7 experience points, and it allowed them to choose a battle honor or battle trait.
So it's classed as getting a battle honor, but you pick from a trait, a weapon enhancement, or a relic, and you went for a trait.
Yeah. So I went for veteran. Let me just check on my app quickly.
I think
veteran warriors.
That's it.
So from now on, it's something that sticks as well, isn't it, Shane? I believe.
For from Crusade, obviously only for Crusade battles.
Yeah. So they get to re-roll hit rolls of a 1 without a captain or anyone around them. That's just fixed.
Oh, fuck! Excellent. You really need that
with eradicators as well, right?
I went for the right unit there with that, definitely.
So 6 is it? Yeah. But the good news is unless he heals him up, the old one-eyed Thane has to re-roll 6s. If he rolls a 6 to hit, he has to re-roll them, right?
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So the best score I can get is now the worst score, the one score I don't want. But at the same time,
why is that? Like, I got images of him just like he's shooting something, gets a 6, and he thinks he's like hit it dead on.
He's got no.
But he's actually pointing like the complete different way.
He's got no depth perception anymore.
But at the same time, it's not too bad because I did go a little bit far with my RP. I spent 4 out of the 5, but after your first game, you get an extra 1 back, so I've still got 2. So I can wipe that battle scar away with 1, and I still got another RP to spend. And also, everything that you do actually put to your models, like relics and warlord traits, they stick with them.
Yeah. But
Oh,
you have to spend your RP to do it, and then as very good something we forgot or both didn't realise until the end is obviously you have to update if you do give a relic or trait to a character or one of your troops, you have to give them crusade points as well, which wouldn't have actually made that much difference in this one because it's the first crusade battle. But as it goes on, that might come into it and the reason you do that is for balancing. So if like let's say like Tom's army right now, for example, he's got 4 traits / relics, so that's 4 crusade points plus the one for what is it, the battle honor. So you'll be up to 5 crusade points. If he played you, for example, John, and you don't have any crusade points, you would get an extra 3 CP for the battle.
Okay.
And that's the balance.
Yeah, because what is it? You get an extra half rounding up, isn't it?
It's half the diff. So if the difference is 5, it's halved, which is 2.5, and then rounded up, so it's 3.
Yeah.
So it'd be 3 CP, and that's the balance.
Fair enough.
Is that enough to balance it though?
I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, in that instance, like as I said, when you get down to 5 crusade points, it's probably not really talking that much difference between the armies anyway.
Yeah.
You know, with your RP,
except for the bloody eradicators rerolling all their ones.
See, that's the thing. I think that's one good. Actually, it's a good point. When you get your specific things from the actual crusade rolls, they are something obviously that the other person can't pick. So even if they've got CP, okay, CP's fine for stratagems, but everything else, as in relics and warlord traits, you can't really. You can't use CP for it. So if you've got good stratagems in mind, fine, and you can use them all the time, cool. But you're never going to get those same things that the other person can get from the experience and from the battle honors.
Well, perhaps what we need to do in future is just try and have, for example, Tom and Shane have had a game. Maybe me and Glenn or me and John could have a game, and then go against after we've had a game each and see how that works out. Yeah,
that'd be cool. The League of Gentlemen.
I was going to say it, and I thought, no, I'm going to sound like a fucking idiot if I say that. So.
The League of Gentlemen, would you?
I gotta run and get a charger. Hang on.
Oh, I need a piss anyway, so we'll have a.
Yeah, Kate's just walked in the door, so that was good timing, actually.
It's a quick one out the back, yeah. All
right, back in there.
Fucking right in the wrong place. This is.
So, how do you find the Crusade game? Is it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I mean, it was. Yeah, it was fine.
It's horrible going up against the Imperial Fist at the moment. Like they're ranked really low in the meta, but I don't see why. I really don't get why.
I think it's got to be something to do with how you run them, right? As I said, that list today, it was like I'd not paid enough attention to the fact that heavy intercessors are that ridiculously good. Like 3 wounds and T5.
Fucking resilient, aren't they? They're just so resilient, and they'll throw out so much firepower as well.
And I think maybe it's because in points battles they're not as efficient, but because we're only dealing with power level, you can probably get away with a lot more than you could if you were just having them for the points.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, in a 1,000-point list, I don't know whether if we were just doing 1,000 points and going for that, whether Tom would have the same list he has for a 50 power level. But
I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know enough to decide either way what I would do. I'm still working out what works and what doesn't. And then one game it works really well. Yeah. And I'll play the next game and I'll be like, fuck.
No, I feel like, I think Tom, I think he's got his he's
definitely getting his eye in with the Imperial Fist.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. I think I think it's the combination of. I think he's liking the combination of the gun line, but the blade guards, because they give them enough punch as they kind of run forward, and the old the dreadnought's always a bit of a handful. The Redemptor was still a bit of a handful today. Took out that Mutalith Vortex Beast in the second turn, like 1 round of combat. Fuck's sakes. D3+3 damage every
it's a
hit
lot.
is quite punchy.
Yeah, definitely. Does that what is it called? Vortex Beast.
The Vortex Beast, yeah.
Does that have like the same traits as a Dreadnought, where it's
No.
-1 damage?
No, nothing like that. It's got a load of wounds. So it's got like 14 wounds, and it's got quite a high toughness of 7. But if you get hits through on it, that's it. Like it's got a natural 4 up save, so it doesn't have a particularly high natural save, and then it's got a 5 up invuln.
Yeah.
So that was it. So he got like 4 hits on it, and that was. Well, no, he got 3 hits through, so that was 9 wounds flat, and at that point he had 12 wounds left.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's going to be four each anyway, because it's D3+3. So
that's it. Yeah. So at that point, it was he was going to be taking at least 11 wounds, as it all depended on what Tom rolled.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit
One of those.
You what?
Why have you taken one of those?
The Vortex Beast.
Because I've looked at them, and I have one that I got ages ago before it were part of the Thousand Suns army. I got fantasy. They're a bit shit.
Yeah, I think I really like the
They
model.
look cool.
That's the thing.
They are a bit.
Rule of cool.
I really like the model, but they're not resilient for what they are, and their output is a bit swingy. Because again, it's like if you're good at rolling 4 pluses, then it can be pretty good. But if you're not, then it's not. And I think it's more. I think it was probably more the spectacle. And the trouble is, I was reading online about it, and everyone was saying, "Don't take the Vortex Beast. Instead, take the what's it called, the Forge Fiend. If you want like a heavy support. I have got one, Forge Fiend. I haven't built it yet. So it may be that when I come to, I think again for the Crusade army, I took the Vortex Beast. Again, it is just me being stupid. Like, it looks cool. I think it works better narratively. I'm going to go for that. But I think more of a competitive points game, I'll probably I'll get the Forge Fiend built, and see how that goes.
Yeah, Forge Fiend's a bit nastier.
Yeah.
Plus the reliability of it's got specific guns. You know exactly what said specific guns are going to do every time.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it is a nice model. I'm pleased I've got the model, but I feel like it's going to be one of those that probably ends up in the display case. You know, a lot came off the back of it. I think what will be interesting next is what happens after this, like with the other, as I think Dave was saying, with other Crusade battles. I think it'll be interesting to, for everyone to have a few more, and then for the lists to start sort of playing each other, because I think that'll be interesting. I think it's interesting as well, like and we'll come into it in a minute, when you pick your list, the list you pick, or your order of battle, should I say, that you pick to begin with your 50 power level, is really important, because actually once you've got it, you can't change it, and then it costs more, like, of your RP to actually add to it. So if I'm like sitting there now going like, do you know what, actually I reckon I'd rather take another 10 rubric marines than a 5 squad of terminators, I've got to actually get the 5 or 10. Like, it's going to cost me 1 or 2 requisition points to get those guys in there, and then that's going to take away from any strats that I might want to use moving forward as well. So it's really important to get that order of battle right first up.
So how many units in total do you reckon you had? Because it's almost 1,000 points, isn't it?
It's roughly 1,000 points. So I think both of our lists were just over 1,000. And I think I had, let's see, unit-wise, I had 2 Scarab Occults, Zangor, and Rubrics, and then the Warlord and the Mutalith Vortex Beast. So six units total.
Because I was just having a look at mine, and I just don't think it's enough.
What are you giggling at?
Because I've got AdMech and I have loads of models.
You're going to be impossible to beat, aren't you?
I'm going to beat Glenn.
There's always a way. There's always a way.
I was looking at my because mine's 1,125 points if I spent the points. But there's a few weapons I might want to swap around before I finalize the list. But yeah, I think I've got like four units of troops, and another lead to fast attack, 2 heavy support, and 3 characters. So yeah, I've got.
Oh dear. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including my 2 characters. So
I've got 8. So I've got.
I'm getting a bit nervous now.
Well, I was going to say, rather than
7 units,
should we
including my
go?
2 characters.
Should we actually go through the lists rather than just say how many?
You know
No,
what?
what's the fun in that? No.
Start with the one person who hasn't actually got a clue. Glenn.
Glenn hasn't got a clue.
Yeah, it's sarcastically the one who knows everything about. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say. Yeah.
Right, so I've gone AdMech. Have yet to name everything.
Here we go.
I went right to that. So I've gone with a Tech Priest Dominus, who will be the Warlord, a Tech Priest Enginseer, and a Tech Priest Manipulus. So basically one of each of the Tech Priests. A unit of Destroyers, a unit of Rangers, 2 units of the Vanguards with their poisony weapons. You know, with the
radium carbines.
Yeah, that nice stratagem that hit on 4s, yeah, automatically wounded. Yeah, love that one. Everyone's a fan of that one. A unit of sterile
On 4s, automatically wound.
Yes.
That's rough.
But well, you were on the end of it.
Well, I think we've all.
It was just a blur. I'm trying to block it out.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
A unit of sterilizers, so that's a unit of basically the little wingedy guys with flamers. A unit of infiltrators, which I think only John's seen them, and they were epically shit in the game I used them against him.
So what were they called again?
Infiltrators.
Infiltrators.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not Space Marine infiltrators.
Yeah, I know, but
They're in
so
it.
the same name, though.
Yeah.
I think they're doing the same thing, but just add Mickey.
Is it? I mean, surely Games Workshop didn't call something the same name.
I think they did.
Okay, that's stupid. Okay, cool. No worries.
And
Fucking hell. Sorry, Glenn. Go on, continue.
What's the thing with the Tech Priests? What's the rationale behind that? I take it they all do different roles, but
I just wanted one of each.
okay, fair enough.
It's worked out every time before.
Yeah, no, I have the main one as the Warlord. One of the lesser ones as sort of like I'm going to run behind the thing and fix it as it goes. And then when we got the voucher for signing up for Warhammer Plus or using the app, I can't remember what we went for. I treated myself to that guy.
That guy.
You've got to put it in front of your face.
Has he got his knob out or something? 'Cause it's all blurred out.
Tech Priest. Oh, that's
Ammo cloak.
the big round one, right? He's quite. Yeah.
It's the fat one that you see in combat cards.
Oh,
Dave.
So I've gone with him. Just
Are you right?
it's about 15 cans.
I was going to say though, Glenn, that's probably a good way of putting your like order of battling, because as I said, by having those 3 different Tech Priests, it's going to make your potential lists you can build off it more flexible in the future.
yeah, like going forward, I won't necessarily need to take all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Plus my things like my troop choices, they're all relatively cheap. Like even 3 of the 4 are 4 points each, and that's full 10-man units.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I
less
can't.
than poxwalkers.
No, not 4 points, 4 power.
4 power level.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. So
That's not bad.
I want to give them a little run out. Because I've enjoyed using it before, and I do like the gun line style. But with the infiltrators and the sterilizers, there's a bit more mobility in them, so it's going to be something that I've not really used with the AdMech yet. Hopefully, I enjoy using them. But in saying that, the rest of my units are relatively cheap, so if I want to drop them for something else, one requisition point is going to be quite easy to, or a couple of requisition points to, adapt my list. Won't be as punishing as, all of you guys with basically marine lists.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your toughest unit in the whole list? Obviously, you've got quite a lot of troops, but what is your actual toughest or most feared unit that you have?
The Dune crawlers, the little walking tanks.
How many have you got of them? Sorry.
2.
Okay. I'm just thinking where to fit with my eradicators because they're obviously, yeah.
I might have to really think about it. It's not shooty at all. Well, a little bit.
Well, while you're in the list crisis, John, why don't you go through yours?
Right.
Why don't you tell us your terrible list?
So I've gone with the Wretched Plague Company for the extra psychic power. So my Warlord will be my Malignant Plague Caster.
Well, it might not be.
Well, that's it.
In a Crusade army, it has to be the model with the highest leadership.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, ooh. So that'll be changed then. So let me just quickly refer to the.
That was quick.
All right, scrap that shit.
Pause that, yeah.
So immediately I'll be changing my plague company. Does
the plague company come into it?
I was going to say I might have to check that. That might be in your Crusade rules, John. I don't know whether you might be able to pick a plague company.
I think I mean it must be similar to us picking like a Space Marines Imperial Fists or the chapter, no? Or is that a different thing?
It might be. Yeah, that might be.
It's going to be the same as because I obviously have to pick a Forge World. You're
going
to a
the same. Yeah.
Whatever the Thousand Sons equivalent is, you get your
the cult. Yeah. So that's fair.
Fine. So we'll plague company to be decided. Currently the Warlord is my Lord of Contagion, and we'll see if I keep the Malignant Plague Caster in the list. I probably will. Then I've got a squad of plague.
What you're saying is your list is null and void.
No, not necessarily. So I've got one squad of Plague Marines. So I've got a Plague Champion, 4 Marines with bolt guns, 1 Blight Launcher, 1 with the Sigil of Decay, if he's allowed to take that. And then I've got a Plasma Gun. So that's that. 2 squads of 10 Poxwalkers. My Death Shroud Terminators, that's 3 guys, so Champion and two other guys. The Hellbrute, and 1 Mephitic Blight Hauler. That's what I've got lined up.
Is the sigil a relic, or is it just something you can add buffs?
Something you can carry.
I think that's fine. It's the same as like the Icon of Flame, that the rubric. Yeah, so that's fine.
Because that just helps out. Like, I think it will give me like I can't remember what, because there's an icon and there's a sigil. One gives you auto wounds and one gives you an extra hit on a 6. So I can't remember exactly what's what. Yeah, so that's my list, but I'll have to obviously go back to the drawing board with the plague company.
That's not. As I said, it feels like a pretty feels like a good number of sort of models you can have in that list by the sounds of it.
Ideally,
it's pretty balanced, isn't it? It's pretty balanced with your the Blight Hauler. Is that? I don't remember. That doesn't have the flyer keyword, or it does?
No, that's a boat drone.
It's got a long movement range, so hasn't it?
It's got 10-inch movement.
Yeah,
and it's got decent shooting.
It's got the melter. It's got that multi-melter.
So
melters.
With him and the Hellbrute
in front of it. Yeah, no, I think actually for the smaller games, I think that would really make sense to have that cannon fodder with the Poxwalkers there. and then a fast movement. Yeah, I actually think that's a pretty decent list, actually.
Yeah. I'll have to obviously read the rules. What I can go and take. This is why I rely on you guys
Not this.
to tell me. I'll just bring extras on the day, and if it's
It's all
right,
Just go to the Crusade section of the Death Guard Codex and rub it all out. Get the whiteboard marker out.
I'll find all the saves, and then that's just the way it is with Death Guard.
Yeah, exactly. We just play by our own rules. We're chaos. Why should we abide by the rules?
Indeed.
But yeah, that's my working theory at the minute. I'll obviously adjust it by the time we come to having a Crusade game.
No, fair enough. And then Dave, the actual Crusader amongst us.
The actual Crusade, and I've gone full on Crusade for this. So this is going to be a New Year list. So this is the list that I'll be playing once Santa Claus has come and brought me all his goodies. So I'm going to start off with the Marshal, which is obviously a Primaris captain. He's going to have a mastercrafted power axe and the auto flamer, a chaplain, because you can't go wrong with a Black Templars chaplain. And then I've got 2 Primaris Crusader squads, 10 man each. One is going to be more of a sort of shooty one. So I've got all the neophytes are going to have chainswords and bolt pistols, and then I'm going to have 2 pyroblasters and 3 auto bolt rifles, and then the other Crusader squad is going to be pretty much full melee, which is neophytes have got all of Astartes chainswords, initiates have chainswords, and I've got 2 power fists in there. One of the fists I'm going to use is the relic that's not a relic within the Black Templars. You can just pay extra points with it, as in the relic bearers. And he's going to have the Fist of Balthus, which is a fist that beat down some alien thing, I guess. I'm going to go for a Primaris Sword Brethren squad, all with power swords. A Suppressor squad, just because I enjoyed how it worked with Shane the other day.
Yep.
And an Eradicator squad.
How big's the Eradicator squad?
Sorry?
How big's the Eradicator squad? Can you only have them up to 3? Is that the maximum size?
3 with a multi-metal.
You can have 6, but I'm just assuming that it would be a 3, yeah.
Yeah. 3 with a multi-metal. And that brings me up to my 50 points. Power level.
Fucking Eradicators.
So it's a fair amount of models, because obviously there's 2 10-man squads.
Sounds a lot.
One thing about I constantly say to Dave, honestly, and I really want him to prove me wrong with his Crusader squads. I just think they're too big. There's too many of them. One thing, even if it's a 10-man squad, I feel like there's too many of them in a smaller game or a smaller map rather to get into where they need to get with all the terrain and everything like that and all the objectives. But I really hope you prove me wrong, because it would look really cool if it works.
I think that's the thing. You definitely need to use the CP with the Crusader squads. You got to use the stratagems like Devout Push, where if you get into combat, you can what's it called? Do the automatic. Is it pushing? What's it bloody called?
Push it.
Piling.
Pile.
Sorry, I haven't admitted. Fucking hell. So you can pile in an extra 3 inches as well. So you can get a lot of those units in, a lot of the models in. And I think that's going to be key when using the Crusader squads. But I think that from what I've looked at, the reason I took them is, one, because it's a Crusade game. It'd be awesome to take a load of like very narrative Crusade Black Templar thing, but 2, because they're quite resilient apparently, especially if you stick the chaplain behind them and give them a bit of a buff with the leadership and stuff like that, and a couple of the litanies you can do. They become quite robust units. So I mean, it may go terribly wrong, it may be absolutely stupid, but I think it'd be quite cool to look at.
Actually, thinking of that, Dave, that's a bit of a good point, because if they're a 10-man squad, if we're playing Crusade, if they don't get wiped, if there's 2 10-man squads, they don't get a battle scar, right? Of course. So they're big squads. So you would have to do a lot to wipe them out.
I think that's winning what 20. Yeah, it's 20 wounds each squad,
and that's without whatever save you put on them or stratagems or anything like that, because they're all primaries, right?
Yep.
So you can, so for that 10-man squad, for 2 CP, you can put transhuman physiology, and they're not going to be wiped out too many times, are they? 2 big blobs of
hopefully not.
Well, unless you go and get to me.
I would like to say it's tactical genius that I've honed into what the Crusade's all about, but I haven't. It's just that would be fucking cool to play, and that's what I want to play. So it may go terribly wrong, but I'll look cool while doing it.
The box of models had the word Crusade on, so you've just gone with it.
Yeah.
That should be all right.
No, very nice. Very, very. Again, lots of models knocking around.
Okay.
What else was on the agenda? Does anyone have any Christmas wishes from Games Workshop? What they want to see out? No more Black Templars?
More Black Templar.
What else could there possibly be, though? Black Templar.
More chaplains, new Primaris chaplains, specifically Black Templar.
Oh, fuck you! You've had enough.
That guy from
No, we've definitely had enough.
The guy from the Fast Show who used to always draw these black Johnny, wasn't it?
It was the painting. It'd be like lovely
Literally
greens and blues and
black. Sounds like Dave. Every week we get on here and we talk about this and what would you like to see or what do you think should be done? And stuff like some sort of black Templar this, Black Templar that. And he just goes off on one and he's had enough. Like Glenn constantly says, Glenn is constantly on the ball. No, not anymore. I won't hang myself. I will hang Dave for this. So yeah.
What I would like to see would be new Tyranid models.
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, I think that would.
I've seen a few sort of bits and bobs where people are starting to play about with the old models or sort of doing their own prints and stuff, and it'd be awesome to see some new Tyranid models, especially with sort of the whole Gene Stealer cult thing on Terra.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to introduce a few more.
And the Space Marine game, Space Marine 2, like the old NIDs in that look pretty good. It'd be good to have models that actually reflected that.
Yeah, another Primaris Lieutenant.
yeah, why not?
I just like over the coming year to see some of the older kits.
Yeah.
Get, a redo. Obviously, I want to see the Chaos Codex finally get done so they have 2 goddamn wounds. But some of the older things, like the older Berserkers and stuff like that, there is some kits out there that are way, way too old now for such popular armies. So yeah, it'd just be nice to see them. Oh, and Dave, just whenever you were banging on about, Black Templars are a big army, Black Templars are a popular army, they're fucking not. I was this is a complete off the topic, but yeah, I was in the Chatham store last Saturday chatting to Neil, and he was saying whenever they did the big release, they got 10 of those nice shiny box sets of Templars. You know how many he sold?
One.
2. And he only selected one about 2 days before I was talking to him. He was like, I was saying, on the pod, one of the guys was like, loads of Black players. They're a really big army. You're like, no, they're not.
Probably a mix of price and location, though, more than.
Yeah, it is Chatham, isn't it? So no one can afford anything. So.
Yeah, but no either.
I think also when you go with the box sets as well, I know a lot of people probably say it, but most things can be bought for exactly the same price. Individually, it's just a convenience to get them all in one box. Mostly, that's what I was reading today. Anyway, I don't know if that's the truth, Dave, for what you got with your Black Templar box. I mean, it could be. I mean, it's probably actually nice that you got it all in one box, and you got a couple of extra things, didn't you? From
it's the limited edition sort of bits and bobs that were nice, but I don't think I actually saved that much money from what you could buy the actual models individually.
Yeah.
I think it depends.
I looked on Amazon today, and you can get all of the main figures for quite a reasonable price. The same as most of the, for example, the Primaris Chaplain cost me £22 something on on Amazon, and I can get the Emperor's Champion today, the Primaris one, for the same price. So individually, yeah. But you did get some sort. What did you get that was unique from your Black Templar box?
It was the Codex, the limited edition Codex.
Oh,
and possibly limited edition cards. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, but I think if you collect the army, you're going to get it, aren't you?
I know. Yeah.
If there was a Blood Angels box with like Dante and a limited Codex, you'd get it.
Yeah, but I've watched enough things now, and I'm not against anyone. I'm not against Games Workshop, but I think buy things. I honestly believe in buy things individually to suit your army, 100%, rather than combat patrols and this and that and things that come in boxes. Stay clear of them unless they've got something specific in them. Like Dave's, whatever you got with it.
No, but building off of that, they were all new models. The only thing that I didn't have anything with the army box. I didn't, because it's the Primaris Crusader Squad, a Redemptor, which I don't have, the new Emperor's Champion, the Marshal, and the Codex.
Yeah, I think
so I didn't have anything in that.
Yours was the first release box, wasn't it? So that was a bit of a different thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more aiming at I was watching quite a few things on YouTube. I'm not going to say the people who were saying it, but they were like for the combat boxes and things like that. They're just the same. They're just a bunch of stuff that's thrown together that you could buy individually or pick better models to go with certain units. So
I think it's more aimed at people starting off, though, isn't it? Because I bought the Vanguard thing straight away. And I probably shouldn't because
but it's also misleading as well to start to give somebody a new army with a bunch of stuff that doesn't really go together. For example,
some of them are situational, to be fair, but like my AdMech army for the Crusade has pretty much been built exclusively from a combat patrol box, the previous whatever it was before the combat patrol battle force, and some random bits out of the Necron and AdMech Forge, something or other box set. So different armies, it works for them. If you need all the stuff in the box, or you want all the stuff in the box, yeah, they're generally a way of saving money. But otherwise, yeah, it can be a little bit. What didn't sell particularly well over the last couple of years? All right,
specifically,
say that
the Iron Warriors. No, sorry, the Iron Warriors, was it? Sorry, not the Iron Warriors, the
Iron Hands. The one
Iron Hands, yes, the box that came out quite recently.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of criticism about the Christmas Battle Force sets because they are, as Glenn just said, there are a lot of the sprues that haven't sold. But they're like, let's box them and send them out because we need to have a gift set for Christmas.
Yeah,
I think.
But generally, the combat patrol ones aren't as bad.
Because the combat patrol were the updated version of the start collecting boxes, which were again they were pretty good. And I think to your point, Tom, I think some of it comes down to how savvy a shopper you are. So I think the box sets, not these Christmas ones, but the combat patrol and the start collecting boxes, they do give you a discount on GW prices. But you can always find a lot of the models cheaper elsewhere if you're willing to wait or willing to shop around or willing to have a look around.
To use our Element Games link.
Or go on Element Games and use our link, indeed. But they would have the Combat Patrol or Start Collecting box as well, so you get a discount on that too. Link in the description.
I'm just having a look at the Death Guard one. So they've got the Plague Festa Warband, and I actually think you're right, and you can buy the models individually, but I think that you actually save money. So it's 125 quid. You're going to get a Plague Burst Crawler, 3 Blight Haulers, 3 Death Shroud, and a handful of Marines. Now, the only thing out of that I don't need more of is the Marines. But I think for 125 quid, you're probably going to spend that to get.
You get on the boxes, you do get between 10 and 15% on GW prices.
Yeah.
As I said, if you really shopped around, you'd probably be able to get all of those individual components for about the same price. Well, it depends on how how much you want it, whether it's the right time, and
I think just to set it down, my point wasn't necessarily that you would save money anywhere else, even if like Shane said, you can shop around and save money. It was more, be careful what specific box set you get.
Yeah.
For example, like I say, the Iron Hands, there was something on there where I think you get incursors or infiltrators, right? And you get an Iron Hands upgrades sprue that you can't actually put on the shoulders of the incursors or the infiltrators, because their shoulders don't fit them. But they still sell them as a box set of I think it was something of Ferrus Manus, the Sons of Ferrus Manus.
Yeah.
And they're also giving away all Primaris, but they're giving away an ironclad dreadnought, which is firstborn, just randomly. So this is what I'm. Battery clip critically low. Oh, perfect time.
Maybe you just need to chop their heads off to get the armpits, the arm pauldrons on, and then they match Ferrus Manus.
Yeah, this was the point. So basically, they would have, every single person would. I don't know what you said about armpits there.
So it was a deep lore heresy cut. It was good work from John, actually.
Actually, can you?
A degree to good use. It
was about the Iron Hands, wasn't it? And the fact that it was something I saw. I think it was on All Specs Tactics. As he is. He was going on about if you buy something, make sure it's got a purpose in your army, in your perceived army for the future, and how you want to run things. For example, you can get something in a box set that could be, at the end of the day, completely irrelevant to what you want to do. So you can get something that could, for example, the Iron Hands, Iron Father, or Sons of Ferrus Manus, I think they're called, box set, and you'll get infiltrators, and I think we'll get their version of a tech marine. I can't remember his name, but the big guy in the Gravis armor.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get, I think they're infiltrators or incursors, more likely infiltrators, but you get an upgrade sprue for the Iron Hands that don't fit on their shoulders, their shoulder pads, unless you want to take your hobby knife and have 10 of them and sculpt 10 shoulder pads on either side to get that shoulder pad on, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And of course, the main, I know the iron, they like iron and metal, but they have an ironclad dreadnought, which is a firstborn dreadnought. So you have a complete Primaris list, small list, with a firstborn dread. It just makes no sense. I mean, if it was a dreadnought, it would make sense, obviously. And if they weren't something that already had their own fixed shoulder pads, it would make sense. Even if it was just I don't know, like regular, I don't know, intercessors, it might even work. But they was clearly, apparently, trying to shift some stock. I mean, nothing's for sure. We don't know what's going through the people's minds. A lot of the box sets or combat patrol sets are decent. Very good starting places, but just be careful. Don't just go, oh, I like the sound of that. Boom. Yeah. Make sure you know what you want to do in the first place before buying anything.
Do what Glenn does. Buy it all and just hoard it. Just sit on it like a dragon.
Buy it all, and then when you realize you haven't got enough of something, just go and buy some more stuff.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as you use our Element Games link, as we've already brought up. Then we don't care.
What's Element Games, John?
Well, if you like your hobby gear and you like it at a discount price, then that's where you should go. And you can click on the link in our video description.
Element Games in our link in the description.
It is, mate.
Oh.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Thanks for watching this video. It'll be very interesting how it cuts together. Iron and Ceramite on all the social medias, and we will see you on the next episode.
No exterminatus, John.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just looking at Tom thinking about his helm. So we'll exterminatus and see you later.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
So all that talk about helms and helmets.
Oh God, yeah. I'm fucking glad you weren't here for that day.
Tom's got a complex.
I'm very grown up, actually.
Tom's got a complex about the way he says helm and helmet. Because
He's obsessed with men's penises.
It's because of you. Literally, it's because of you.
What, my penis?
Every time I say anything like that, no, yeah, you fucking sick. Fuck's sake. Let's continue.
It doesn't help the fact that you say helm and helmet like some kind of fucking 70s sitcom guy. You'd be talking normally and then you sort of semi-pause like helm.
I think I know what people are thinking when I go, and then he's got his, I painted his helm red. I'm thinking, I know what they're thinking.
You pause before you say helm. So you really
because I want to draw attention to the fact that I know how it sounds, so they don't think I'm saying something. Oh, whatever. You know what I mean?
Why do you eat things so quickly as well?
Chewing gum.
But why did you throw it in your mouth? If you didn't do it at that speed, like the world was going to end.
Tell me to have done.
Put it in your mouth like a normal person.
He's used to things flying.
Right, save that. Save that, John.
I'm just going to create a GIF.
Right, let's crack on. I'm ready to go. Could go wrong if we did.
Huh?
You literally pulled out of that chair like an old man. Did we just wake you up? Literally. I'll take Weber.
You're mad.
5 minutes because this is just turned off.
Yeah, no worries.
Fucking hell.
Right. I'm going to use this to go for a piss.
Okay.
I think we'll have to wrap up in a minute.
Yeah. What I've got from this is Tom doesn't like the boxes.
Yep.
No, it's a fair point. It's like, I think if I was going to go back, I probably wouldn't buy the Indomitus set.
Oh, really?
Probably not, because the Space Marines are all right, but the Necron side of it, what they give you in the box is not a good list.
No. A lot of models, haven't they?
Yeah, it's not a good list, and then it just means that it's a bit. If you then want to turn it into a good list, you have to. I suppose it's actually a perfect business model because you buy it and you have to spend a load more to get a good Necron list.
Well, yeah, that's it, isn't it? Because I'm sure there's going to be stuff out of this magazine that we're not going to get. Certain things that we're going to want.
I don't know. As I said, I looked at the list of what you actually get. It's pretty good. Like it is. I think the Imperium's pretty balanced in what you actually get from the Imperialist. It will be. Again, I probably would go back and cancel the what's it called, the Elite subscriber, because I don't need the Chaos stuff, and that's just going to be grey plastic that sits there.
I think we all got hyped, didn't we? We all hyped each other up.
I'm actually quite looking forward to just having the little different things to paint, though.
Yeah.
No, I haven't got time for it, Dave. I've got too much shit to paint.
Oh, mate, I've got so much stuff that's going to have to paint in the new year.
That's what I mean. Someone gives me another model, and that'd be a cool model to paint. It's like, fuck off.
That's it.
You can paint it then.
Per use, you've got too much to paint.
If I didn't have all the Imperium stuff, I'd probably buy that Plague Festa box set, but I can't buy anything else until I've finished this magazine now because I'm behind.
Yes, you can.
I can't.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I will do. That's the thing. I'll end up getting some money over Christmas, and I'll end up buying a load of Death Guard shit that I don't need. But I do want some more Death Shroud. I do want more Blight Lords. I want more Poxwalkers. It's not fair.
I've got a
Can
few
you-
new. Hold on.
No, I was going to say, with the Poxwalkers, do you have to balance it so you're only allowed like 1 unit of Poxwalkers to 1 unit of Marines?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Have you got 2 units of Marines in your Crusade list?
Well, no, I don't need to because it won't let me have it. So maybe it's the other way around. I think it's 2
No,
to.
it's one. I'm sure it was because I've checked your codex on several occasions.
But the thing is, so your order of battle, so in all fairness, in your order of battle, John, you could have 4 or 5 units of Poxwalkers and only 1 unit of Marines.
Yeah.
But when you muster your army, you wouldn't be able to take all the Poxwalkers.
Oh, because normally when I put it onto Battle Scribe, it would give me the little red eye at the top, but it's allowed me to do it. So I'm not sure why. If I add another Poxwalker, then I get the red eye, and it says too many. No, here you go. So patrol detachment has 1 too many selections from Poxwalkers, maximum 2. So I take 1 out, and then I'm all right. So yeah, it's letting me do it.
Always double check the codex.
I just go with what Battle Scribe lets me do, as you know, and I figure it out later. I'll have a look while we're waiting for Tom.
Yeah, that's just created by some sweaty nerds sitting in their parents' basement.
Yeah. Their Thousand Sun stuff is all over the place. It's nowhere near accurate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Some of the codexes are notoriously way out.
Yeah. It's like you still get like the Thousand Suns do not get any of the like Death to the False Emperor or anything like that anymore. But it's still all in Battle Scribe.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky actually because I'm on a group on Facebook. It's like a relatively big Templar group. One of the Battle Scribe nerds is on it, and people are going, "Fuck this on Battle Scribe, fuck that on Battle Scribe," and he was like, "Thanks, check in 5 minutes. I'm going to sort this out," and he has. So I think there's only one thing that I've noticed is that apparently, according to the Codex, or my interpretation of the Codex, and a few other people, you don't have to have your neophytes having equipped with all the same things. So you can have a couple of neophytes with bolters, a couple of them with chainswords. But on Battle Scribe, you can't do that. So,
have to read the codex. It's always.
Well, in my opinion, but then I could just be doing a jump where I just make up complete fucking gibberish. And
We'll just roll for it before every game.
I can do it. So you cannot include more Poxwalker units than bubonic Astartes core infantry. My Death Shroud Terminators are bubonic Astartes, so they count.
are they core infantry?
You said core infantry though, right?
And they're core and they're infantry.
Oh, okay, then that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they've got the right
Scribbles down, pencil, core.
It's not them versus the Plague Marines. It can be anything.
It's any core infantry. So as long as you've got, so that's fine. So because it's, I think for the Death Guard, it's to stop the Poxwalker spam lists that are doing the rounds.
That's how that gets around then. So I wonder, because there's a lot in a big map. You could probably have quite a few. I could just run quite a lot of Poxwalkers.
They used to do it because as a low cost troop, they're really resilient, and if you've got shitloads of them, they just obsec everything.
Oh yeah, that'd be, and they can be. Sometimes they're quite easy to shift, and sometimes they just won't get off the board. So if you had 200 of them, it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, a mate of mine used to do. This is before the Death Guard Codex. This is old Chaos Codex. Was Typhus and loads of plague zombies and Helldrakes. Yeah. That's all. So all the plague zombies, they just run at objectives and just sat there. And you couldn't shift the fuckers. They didn't run away. They didn't feel any morale. They'd feel no pain. So they just sat there and you had to wipe every single one of them off the objective. You need like 4 big blobs of them, of 25, 30 models each. And then Helldrakes just flying around and burning the shit out of everything. It was a horrendous list.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like much fun at all.
Even if you went to try and contest an objective, there was that many plague zombies, you couldn't get within the within the 3 test the fucking objective. It was horrible. But that was a list taken to Throne of Skulls to be like super competitive. Didn't win it. Actually, he might have won it. No, he fucking did win actually with that list. I've known 2 Throne of Skulls winners. That was one of them. Best.